My name is Kim Shea with Aging Purposefully, and today I'm here with Emmett and Chris Dernan, and they're going to talk to us about what they are doing to make aging very meaningful and fulfilling for them, which you can maybe use for your own inspiration. So Emmett, tell me about what volunteering that you do.
I do Meals on Wheels once a month, and sometimes more frequently if they need someone to fill in. And then I do a jail ministry once a month over at the Vista Jail, and I volunteer on the USS Midway Museum, at the USS Midway Museum. That's 1 day a week. I have a bike riding group, and then along with Chris, I volunteer at the Showers of Blessings program, which I'll let Chris go into the detail on that one because she is the leader in that group. But you know, it's very fulfilling, and it still gives some free time to do things that I want to do or relax or whatever.
Well, and you have a big family, so
Yes.
you have people to see and obligations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's I think I covered all bases on that one.
Yep, I'm exhausted
it's
just
busy.
listening to you.
It's busy, I know. Okay, so tell me about Showers of Blessings.
Well, Showers of Blessings was kind of an outgrowth of an involvement with an organization called Fulfilment, which is a group that feeds the homeless downtown Carlsbad and in Encinitas also. And I had contact with people down there, and one of the things that really was on my heart was the fact that they really had no place to take a shower. And I was at a meeting one time with for the homeless with the Interfaith Council in Oceanside. And this gentleman sat next to me, and we just got to talking, and he told me about this ministry that the Episcopal Diocese had started about 5 years prior, bringing a shower trailer to different places around the county and providing showers for the homeless. And I just said to him, I said, oh my gosh, that's just been on my heart for a long time. And so we worked together, and we now have we started out as a twice monthly kind of thing where people could come to our location, and we offered showers as well as clothing and food and haircuts.
That's nice.
Yeah, so people could come feeling pretty downtrodden, and then come away feeling a little bit lighter and a little bit, more positive. And now we've gotten to the point where we were able to go to once a week. So now we have it once a week, which everybody down there seems to be very happy about.
I'll bet.
Yeah,
because you help people feel human. Again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Having a shower.
And we have anywhere from 25 to 35 people that show up every week.
Every week.
Every
Yeah.
week, yeah.
Does it tend to be the same people? Like, are you starting to see sometimes?
Yeah, there are a lot of the same folks that actually live here. I mean, this is their home.
Mm-hmm.
Granted they don't have a home, but they look at Carlsbad as their home, and so many of them are locals. And but then we get our share of transients too, people that come and go. And just hear by word of mouth that we exist.
And do you feel like when you're both doing this, do you feel like you're making a human connection with these people where there's starting to be some, like you would greet a neighbor or a friend, just in terms of you recognize the same person, there's some kind of a connection there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I definitely do. I see people all over Carlsbad now, and I say hello. And I remember going into Rite Aid one time, and one of our guests, one of our neighbors, was there, and she was reading some magazines and everything. And I looked at her and I said, "Hey, Allie, how you doing?" And she just gets this big grin on her face and everything. And so we talked for a little while, and then I went on and did my thing. And afterwards, after I checked out, she came up behind me because she was still reading. And she came up behind me and she goes, "Thanks for noticing me."
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. I mean, it was just, and that's so many times, you know, you see so many homeless on the street, and you just kind of look the other way.
Mm-hmm.
But they really do appreciate when they're acknowledged as human beings.
Exactly. I mean, whenever I walk into a local store here and someone says, "Hey, Kim," I always feel so special. You know that they know who I am. So
Exactly.
that's
You know.
probably completely different from what they're used to when they get that.
Yeah, I mean, they're generally either invisible to people or ignored, you know, just
They look the other way.
look down on by people. So,
Oh yeah.
and you never know when what we do is going to be the last ingredient that they need to turn the corner and move on and maybe go back to what they used to have.
We did have some good news just the other day. A gentleman that I've been working with for the past almost year now. He's been in and out of the hospital with he had broken his leg and he just kept getting infections. So he's been in and out of the hospital for almost a year now. And but we just found out that through our homeless outreach team that's here in Carlsbad, they were able to secure him a place to live.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
How neat to be a part of that.
Yeah, it just did my heart good to know that all the work that a lot of people have been doing to try and, you know, help this gentleman has come to fruition.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, so what would you say would be the age range? Are there any aging people that are homeless that come and take advantage of the services?
I'd say quite a few.
We've got a number that are over 50,
over 50.
and over 60.
Yeah, some that are over 70.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what that would be like? I mean,
I can't.
That would be such a hard way to go about aging.
Yeah, that would be very difficult.
Really scary.
Very.
Yeah, and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very much so.
And so, compared with the work you did before, Emmett, how would you say this ranks in terms of fulfillment for you with all the different charities and services that you belong to?
Well, you know, my careers were in business and in the Navy, and I enjoyed them. But you know, when you retire, you get a chance to do things that you want to do, and so you get a connection to them that's just part of you, and so I remember when my folks retired, they started delivering Meals on Wheels, and I thought, you know, that was really neat. And that was the first thing I did when I retired. I went and volunteered to deliver Meals on Wheels, and talk about rewarding. I mean, it's just the people are so appreciative, and some people, you know, find they're financially comfortable, live in a nice house, they just don't want to cook, or some of them are just too old, they don't feel comfortable cooking anymore. And others are, this is their sustenance, you know, they're living on Social Security and living, you know, check to check, and so they're, and some of them are lonely, and the daily delivery by the Meals on Wheels person is their contact, their regular contact. So they really look forward to coming, and they're extremely appreciative of it. And the other ones, you know, it's a matter of being able to do things. When you're tired, it's a matter of being able to do things that you wanted to get involved in, but you didn't have the time, raising a family, full-time job, so on and so forth. And now you do have the time, and so it's a choice, and it's rewarding. Frankly, I don't know what I'd do if we didn't have these things to be involved in.
Yeah.
And we're not overwhelmed by them. We're giving back.
Very much you're giving back, and it sounds like you have a good balance between recreational relaxation and then making a difference.
Right.
Yeah. which is the ideal that I think everybody would be shooting for.
I think the hardest thing for I know for Emmett, when he first retired, trying to find his way and not knowing exactly what to do, but he just kind of grabbed a hold of one thing, and then the other things just kind of evolved.
Yeah.
And now with me, it was a little different. I wasn't quite done with teaching, and so I decided I really would like to get something part-time in that same field, which is what I had done for years. And that transition of teaching just part-time was enough for me to kind of make me realize the kind of the things that I really wanted to get into. After I decided I was done with teaching, period, I started finding the things that I knew that I wanted to be involved in, and that transition was good for me. I needed, just something to kind of distract me a little bit while I was getting my ducks in line.
Yeah, so you weren't left feeling empty and
Right.
now what do I do with myself?
What do I do?
And a couple of things were sort of serendipitous. I mean, in Chris's case, in terms of continuing teaching, she, at an event down on Midway, she ran into a lady that she had worked with in the education field, and they started talking, and this lady said, well, why don't you think about, teaching in our education department? The ship has an extensive education department. In my case, one of the first things that happened was about a month and a half after I retired, I went up to go for a bike ride up at Las Pulgas off of I-5, and there were a bunch of guys there that about my age that were getting ready to go on a ride, and one of the guys came over to me and he goes, "Hi," he says, "I'm Mike. Who told you about us?" And I said, "Nobody. I don't know who you are." And I said, "I'm just coming up here for a bike ride." And he goes, "Well," he says, he explained to me, he said, "A bunch of guys, we ride every Tuesday. If you want to ride with us, fine. If you don't want to ride with us, that's fine." And so I rode with him that day, and really a good group of guys, about 10 or 12, and I've been riding with them ever since. That was 6 years ago. So those sort of things just sort of happened. And then when Chris started down in the Midway, I thought, boy, that'd be a great. I'm gonna volunteer down there.
Yeah.
And I love that. I mean, that's just pure fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what they refer to it as?
No.
Because it's mostly a bunch of Navy guys that are adult daycare.
Whatever works.
Yeah, I tell the guests when I'm taking them on a tour, I said, "Thanks for coming. It keeps us off the streets."
Well, I'm really impressed with the way that you are living your lives, because you're doing something that is giving to others. You're also having fellowship with other people with what you do, peers and people who are not your peers who you don't know very well, but you're still reaching out to them. So you're getting that human connection. You're also using your minds, and you're also getting exercise and staying in shape. You really got this down. Like, it's a really well-rounded approach to aging and living the second half of your life, which is so important because that helps to fight depression and anxiety and keeps you healthier and happier.
As Chris said, in the first year, I had, the biking group, and I had the breakfast guys, but I had and Meals on Wheels, but I had a lot of gap time, and most of my friends weren't retired yet, so it wasn't like I could call somebody up to say, "Hey, let's go do something," and it was. There were times where she was still working for a year after I retired, and there are times that I would be sitting in the house and I'm going, what the heck am I going to do? I got to go out and do something. I've got to go out and just go, and then things started filling in.
And I think he's got a good point there, that, not to get discouraged when you are at that point. You start thinking, oh gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. But to give yourself a little bit of time to make the transition and to not jump into, doing 20 million things at once, because that gets overwhelming really quickly.
Sure, and then you're exhausted.
Yeah, then you're exhausted. But to give yourself some time to just reflect and, and figure out what you really want to do. What you think would be good for your soul as well as others and whatever. But
Exactly.
to give yourself that time.
No,
Really
that
is
makes
important.
sense. To be fulfilled by what you're doing, you can't just be giving and not getting something back from it, or it's
Exactly.
draining.
About 3 or 4 months before I retired, I realized that for 40 plus years I've been in some sort of a structure,
Mm-hmm.
some sort of a structured day, if you will, and that when I retired, I would need to create a new structure, and it doesn't have to be as rigid as the the 5-day-a-week deal, but it had to be something that you've got some commitment to, and you've got to enjoy and do as much as you want to do or as little as you want to do, but just don't flounder.
You need a reason to get out of bed
Yeah,
every day.
exactly.
Somebody's
Or
counting
purpose.
on you to be somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because that's what we were put on this earth to do, was
Yes.
to have a purpose and to do the things that need to be done to create a good world.
I agree. I always say there has to be a reason you're breathing the air. You've got to be doing something.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be huge. You two do a lot. So in terms of retirement, you really, neither one of you has retired. You're just doing something different than what you did before. Do you see a time when you would retire?
Oh, really?
Not
No.
really, not until we physically or mentally can't, do what we do. But
I think
I
that-
just can't imagine sitting around. I mean, believe me, there are times when I'm when I just say,
We want to sit
I
around.
just want to laze,
Yeah.
But no, I can't see any time where I would just cut it off, just to cut it off, or just
Okay.
stop.
Yeah.
There would
There'd
have to be
a reason.
a reason to do
Mm.
that.
Plus, we have lots of little grandchildren, so we have to
Yeah.
keep ourselves in shape to keep
Yeah.
up with them.
Well, inspire them too with the lesson that you're setting. All right, so I'm going to put the contact information below this video for the different places that you volunteer, because there may be people watching who would like to be involved or may wish to make donations or somehow know more about it. So any website information, phone numbers, things like that you give me, I will go ahead and put that down there so that our viewers can find out more.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Right. So thank you so much, and I think you're a great example of how to go about living the second half of your lives, and I hope you'll inspire some other people out there to consider doing the same thing.
I
Well,
hope so
thank you
too.
for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.